But it pushes me to work harder, but it's also what's best for students at the end of the day. What's best for students, that's what I want, and I want my whole district to be that way. That's what happens. People want to know what you're doing, and it's become such a way of life at Flat Rock that we even use it with the students. I have 2 cycles going on in the building right now. One is pretty big, and I brought a new person in to work on the cycle. I have a new reading coach. And it's a pretty big problem that we need to address. The other one is 5 girls who bully each other. So the students are using it, and I've taught them how to use the research cycle. And it was way better than suspending them from school and sending them home because they didn't need to go home in the 5th grade, bullying each other. So, the way we do business at Flat Rock, I would share with anybody who wants to know. The work I do with these 2 people has been phenomenal, and it has been the root of the success that we've had this last year at our school, and we've really benefited from being part of this group.
Thank you so much for sharing. These 2 presentations so far are also great examples of co-constructed problems, and those of you who are EDD candidates in the room can take really copious notes because this is great stuff. Robert, would you share with Rebecca, please?
Hi, everybody. I'm Robert Crow. I teach ed research in our doctoral program at Western Carolina University, and this is Rebecca.
Dr. Rebecca Hensley, graduate of Western's EDD program, almost 2 years ago now, this summer. Wow.
Yeah.
And we first started working together, not just through the EDD program, but while I was a student in the program, I was also the principal of an early college. And the one thing that I will tell you about improvement science and NICS and all these wonderful tools is if you've never used them, but you start looking into this and you think, hey, I could do that, don't be afraid to just jump in and start practicing using them. That's what I did. I had my first class with Dr. Crow in improvement science. I had never heard of it before. Read a book. We practiced using them that semester, and the very next, like almost simultaneously, I started just bringing little nuggets back to my staff, back to my school, and we started engaging in just surface level introduction work with using the tools. And through that, did some work in just empowering teachers as leaders. We were a very, very small school. Early colleges are small by design, 6 staff and myself. When you are the leader of a 6-staff school, you are not the leader. You lead together or you go. They'll find somebody to replace you. And so they got kind of indoctrinated in that, and they started using that. And then the other caveat to it, I will tell you, and I heard it as Jared talked, I made a choice to leave and to move on. And then after I left, some of them also left. And so the work we had done went with us to our other new places, to be done other places, but it didn't sustain where we were. And so I do think it's important to highlight that fact that it is still new enough in the world of education that it's not totally embedded yet, to the point that it survives past leaders and those who do it, who are passionate about doing it. So just always keep that in mind and don't let that be frustrating, but it also highlights why it's important to partner with higher ed organizations who promote the work, teach the work, attract other students in who can learn to do the work, and then go out as practitioners and use that kind of work and improvements. I just have to plug that because that's been reality. Now I'm an instructional coach at a traditional high school in my hometown. It was a great opportunity to get to go back home, and I'm excited about how we're starting to just use, again, introducing these tools, because this is a school system that has been historically very successful. So right now it's about shifting the mindset of why do we need to use something new? We're not failing. But what I'm hoping as I work with our school improvement team and our parent advisory council and our leadership team, and then ultimately our district leaders, is it's not about being a failure to improve. You don't need to be a failure to have to start improving. What we want to make sure of is that as we are successful, are we always aware of those and being laser focused about what our little problems might be that maybe never show up on our school report card data or on paper, because there's a lot of facets in school that social emotional well-being was not being taken care of. Those things aren't measured in the federal reports that we have to answer for and that the public cares about. And so it really helped us become more laser focused about root problems that we might have missed if all we focused on was just what the school report had to say.
And I'm going to step back for a minute, because I know some of you are out there going, God, this sounds great, I want to do it, but I'm not at a point. Our relationship, and kind of like Jared's and Kristen's, developed over time. And so that's one of the kind of key takeaways I keep thinking about when we work in networks. I mean, it's great because it's collaborative. I love seeing Christina on our Wednesday monthly webinars that we have, and we do didactic instruction, and we hear from people, and it's great, it's fun, and then we see each other in conferences, and we love it. But if you're thinking that you're a practitioner and I need a university faculty member to tie with, that's okay. We can help you. If you're a faculty member with no practitioner, you know, we move to different towns, get new jobs, and we don't know people. We can help with that. So if you don't have a partner node person, that's okay. Come on. At first, we were very, very exclusive on who we wanted to have join because we wanted to be rural and remote. My university is part of the UNC system. We have 17 universities. We're all the way in the very corner of western North Carolina in the mountains. They call it the outpost. And so almost every one of our students is going to be a rural practitioner, or they already are. So, I mean, it just worked out perfectly for us. And then when Christina and I saw the platform that we haven't even shown you yet, we got on the phone immediately and said, this is amazing. And then when Rebecca was alluding to the tools that belong to the field of improvement science, I call it black magic equity. Because when you pull these tools out, people are like, their jaws drop. They're like, what are you doing? I've never seen this. So it moves people. Kristen, you said the work moves. And we're grappling over how do we work and sustain and build the RPP, but also move the field of ed leadership along. Because, you know, the Gardner hype cycle where you're down in the, have you ever seen that? Google it. You're down in the trough of disillusionment for a long. Now I see that we overcame that and now we're moving on. And we're being more expansive, and we really want the network to grow. We had a very good meeting with some of the UCEA, Monica, and some other people, and they're very supportive of what we're doing. We have big plans to tell you this year, but we don't have anything nailed down yet, but we've heard good feedback from people that big things are going to happen with the network. So, you know, all these relationships is part of that collaborative. Like Christy said, she doesn't do anything in her building top down. It's all collaborative, and it's fun, it's great, it's magic. And when I started teaching like this, it changed my whole life. It really did. It's like when people do improvement work like this, people go, wow, that's really great. I want to be part of that. And it's effective, and they see that it's a positive result. So anyway, this is just our RPP, and you know, Rebecca and I have written a couple of chapters together now about our relationship and what we've done. We've presented at the Carnegie Summit a few times. So, I mean, you know, it opens the door in my talk tomorrow is who counts as a scholar. Because academic researchers have to have application. And when we were talking this morning, it's like, okay, tell me all about this, and let's just figure out how we can apply it. Because that's how we think. We got to know about it, and then we can apply it.
Well, and just one more thing I want to add. We've heard great examples, I think, of how it's applied in the educational building context of schools and improvement of the daily instructional practice of teachers and performance, which is ultimately what principals focus on most. If you're building level and if you're a district level leader, obviously you're focusing on that in the educational side. But there's also the external partners component of public education or education in general. All of our external supporting agencies that come in and help us, and as district leaders, you have to be able to work with them and work with your commissioners, and a lot of times it comes down to funding opportunities. And so one way that I was able to use the improvement science process when I was in my previous district, part of my responsibilities was doing our district safety. And so obviously, given the climate of things that happen in our world now in schools that have nothing to do with education, that are tragic, there was a lot of attention, and there was an opportunity to leverage the attention moment and use tools to inform our commissioner board, and so I worked with our leadership team and our emergency management director in the county and the emergency officials in the county, and built a fishbone for where our safety problems were, and then built a driver diagram on how we could begin to fix those, and then also put down basically the bottom line, which is really all they care about. But we had always presented budget finance requests to our commissioners for different things related to safety, and they nodded their heads and said yes and fine. This time they were able to actually see the progression of getting where we wanted to go and how much each project would cost and which one could be prioritized first. And so that has sustained, the impact of that has sustained. The process of improvement signs may not ever be revisited with that improvement, but what I do know is that Jackson County Schools is getting safer and safer because of those presentations. Those commissioners put money towards adding counselors, adding SROs. Basically everything we requested is in the plan to be funded if it hasn't already been funded in a recurring way. So that's an example of a way that we took it beyond the walls of an educational building to bring about positive change for a rural area that people often think nothing's gonna happen, but what we wanted to be sure of is that the funds were being sourced so our kids are just as safe as a kid who lives in a more affluent community in our state who could just snap their fingers and put the money there and make things happen for safety.
Awesome. Thank you very much for sharing. So, hearing these